Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Today, doing a full tank review on the Cromwell. This is a British Tier 6 medium tank that you can see in the garage. Very nice looking tank. It has a lot of things going for it, and in my opinion, this may be the very best medium tank at the tier. The downside here is you don't have much armor. But on the upside, you have one of, the fastest medium tank with great acceleration and power. The gun is more than adequate. It's super accurate, got a high rate of fire, and it also has pretty good gun depression as well. The other, the other thing I like about it is your premium ammo is APCR. So overall, this is a very good tank that's good at navigating the battlefield, getting yourself into situations where you can use that high DPM. And so if that's your play style, you're going to like this tank. So let's take a quick look at the tech tree. How did we get here? So you come up the line towards the bottom there, the Cruiser 3, Cruiser 4, into the Covenanter, Crusader, up to the Cromwell. And all of those tanks have very similar play styles, so you'll know what I'm talking about as far as the mobility, getting around the battlefield. That continues on when you get to the Comet. It's a little bit slower, as is the Centurion, but they all have this wonderful gun on them. Playstyle changes a little bit, excuse me, when you get to the Cent 7.1 and the FV 4202. But one of the downsides, in my opinion, to the British tanks, if we pull up the specs here on the Cromwell, is they always have a lot of modules that you have to research in order to get to the top gun. So if you look at the Cromwell here, you start out with the 6-pounder Mark III, and it's only got 105 millimeters of pen. So you will quickly want to get up to the Mark V, which brings that pen number up to 130. You can see we got a great rate of fire there of 20 rounds per minute, but we're only doing 90 damage per shot. Next will come the upgraded turret, which will allow us to mount the 75 millimeter Vickers HV, which you can see this gun, 12 rounds per minute, 145 on the pen, which is good for the class, and then also 160 damage. And again, you see down here, there's 2 additional modules that you have to unlock in order to get to the top engine. So keep that in mind. If you don't have the free experience, and I don't know, I'd be kind of going out on a limb to say use free experience to unlock all of this. So I won't say that, but you might consider using free XP just to get up to the top gun and then grind your way through the rest of it. Let's go back to the garage here and take a look at the setup. You can see we are running Heroic Warrior on the camo. This is from Clan Wars, and it doesn't cost anything, which is why I run it. Consumables, fairly standard for me. Repair kit, multi-purpose, and adrenaline. Moving over to provisions, I've got protective kit, improved fuel, and pudding and tea. Ammunition, 37 rounds of AP, 16 of APCR, 11 rounds of HE, but you can see that pen there between 17 and 23 is very low, so you're not going to really use that. So if you want to bump up some of those other numbers, I'd be okay with that. And then, of course, don't forget, guys, you can buy your premium ammunition with credits. Make sure that you just switch that from gold to credits. So, taking a quick look at the equipment here, you can see I'm running the gun rammer, which gets that rate of fire up to 12.34. We almost get an extra round per minute in there. I don't use the calibrated shells, and part of the reason here is it brings that AP pen number up to 152, but I didn't have any issues with the pen on this. And my rule of thumb really with the calibrated shells. You can see there at the top, 10% for HE and heat. So I primarily use it for tanks in which more of the derp tanks that 10% is really going to help out. So I'm not running improved modules. I am running defense system. This tank's got good mobility. We can avoid getting rammed in this tank. So I just feel like this gives us better protection all around from any of those issues: engine damage, crew injury, or ammo rack. Improved optics, 26 additional meters of view range, gets our view range up to 286. And guys, this is in line with most of the light tanks. So I felt like this was a great use of this equipment. I think the AMX-12T and the T-37 are at 292 on the view range, but the rest are right there at 286 as well. So this is certainly useful on the Cromwell. Now again, this is tier 6. I would not recommend using spare parts. If we run through this real quick, I'm going to run with the enhanced gun lane drive, get that aim time down just a little bit further. We don't have much armor on this tank, so getting 4% additional is not going to be much. So we would go with improved assembly, get that hit point total up to 1020. Improved control, traverse, you can see there, the traverse speed at 60 degrees is already really nice. So we'd go with engine accelerator and just get that horsepower up even more. I would go with the vertical stabilizer over the refined gun, and then I'm kind of indifferent to these last two. Obviously it depends on if you're running consumables or more of the cooldown. So anyway, let's take a look and see how this tank compares to the rest of the tier. Alright guys, here we are on blitzstars.com using their tank compare section. Cromwell's pulled up on the left, and you can see we've got the Type 58, VK3001D, Type 4 Cheeto, Sherman Firefly, and T-3485. All of these are non-premium tanks, and our damage per minute without any extra equipment is the highest of all of these tanks. Penetration at 145 is right there in the middle. Our damage per shot at 160, it's kind of standard for this tier. 75 millimeter shell velocity of 785. We are a little bit slower as in terms of that, but it's not an issue in game. The aim time at 2.08 is there's not much difference in these tanks, so it's really not that bad. Our dispersion's right in line with the rest. 8 degrees of negative gun depression, which I mentioned before is very useful in this tank. But where this tank really shines is when we get down to movement and mobility. You see our top speed at 64 kilometers per hour. It is far and away the fastest medium, and it really does handle well when you look at these other characteristics here. Engine power, 715 horsepower, which gives us a power to weight ratio of 25. Then when you throw in the fact that we've got 0.9 as our terrain resistance, we've got a very good 28.6 effective horsepower to ton ratio. So this means that we are going to power up hills very easily. We're going to get to our top speed quicker. And just the overall handling of this tank is much better than the rest of these mediums. Now, as I mentioned before, this 264 on the view range, when you use the equipment, you're going to get it up to 286. And as you can see, that's far and away better than any of these other mediums. So use that to your advantage in this tank. It's a very good sniping tank. And that's why I like it, because you can use your speed and relocate. As far as the armor goes, well, it's a medium. It's not going to have the greatest armor in the world. And you can see our hull armor there at the front, 64, the sides, 32. You know, it's right in line with the rest of these mediums. And so is the turret armor at 76 on the front and 64 on the sides, 57 on the back. And as we move down here just into the 90-day averages, you can see it's got a pretty nice 56% win rate. Average damage seems to be a little bit low there, in my opinion, 958. But does have a pretty good damage ratio, 1.2. So you can see their average spots is way above these other ones. That's kind of interesting. And I guess that goes to the view range and the speed. But anyway, guys, keep these numbers in mind as you're playing this tank. All right, guys. First game, Black Goldville, bottom tier. Apologize for my voice. Still fairly early in the year here in Atlanta, and the pollen is still pretty crazy, and it's got me acting up. But we'll power through it. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the team to kind of mobilize and get in a somewhat of a similar direction. When, how ironic, this is Cromwell comes racing through using his speed to obviously be the first one to get knocked out. Now, since I'm spotted, my thought process here is that perhaps some other guys are coming around with him, and so I want to get to some cover. And so you've got the T-29 there on the left, you've got the VK, and M8 there. So nothing I can do frontally on that tank. Looks to me like this T-29 is going into the heavy alley by himself, so figure that I would try to go help our heavy. You can see I took a couple shots there on the run which missed, but this tank does have good accuracy, so we're just going to stay behind him. And, I'm not sure how I missed that shot. So we're trying to help out this Kuro here. You can see he's focused on the Kuro, so we're just going to go around to the backside. And finish him off with our very high rate of fire. AC Sentinel there, so I'm going to pull back into the game here, get closer to some of these guys. T-34E5, there's a premium tier 7 tank, so we're going to be cautious, and it's a good clan, so don't want to rush into that. KV2 was pushing hard there. Was just trying to be as cautious as much as possible. Don't want to race out yet. It's 3-on-2, so we've got the number advantage, and this guy's showing his side, so can get that pen in there. It's about to switch over to APCR just to see if that would help out. Forgot to switch back, but now it's 3 of us. And I am just waiting for them to get a little bit closer, and figure we'll all go in at the same time. Now he's turned and focused on the tank behind him, and he finishes him off with one shot. And I'm not sure why I don't have help at this point in time. Otherwise, I probably would have played this a little bit more cautiously. But thankfully, he did get in there to finish him off. So we only ended up with 1 kill, but we did 2356 in damage as bottom tier. So keep in mind, with these medium tanks, to be effective, it's really about map awareness. Get used to using that mini map. Look around, look for low health tanks that you can finish off quickly. Don't tunnel vision in these tanks. So here's a supremacy game, and the call here is to go left. So obviously we'll use our speed and pull all the way up into the corner, and this is a great spot for this tank with our gun depression. But unfortunately they didn't come this way. They've gone down heavy alley, so we are just going to motor around and try to catch up to any of the slower tanks that might be down here. And so they've all gotten spotted up. I'm just going to pull around the building here and just take one little peek, and we should be able to get a shot there and then just back up. We have been spotted, so we got to be careful. One of the things you'll notice with this tank shooting through walls and whatnot, things that you would normally expect to pen will not. And I guess that factors in with the lower shell velocity. So now I'm just going to try to find a nice little perch here that we can get some shots in without getting spotted again. And remember, as much as map awareness, name of the game here is conserving hit points early. Get spotted, so we are going to pull down before anyone can aim at us. And here's a VK. Get multiple targets on him and finish him off quite quickly. He did angle into that shot of mine there. Not that he did it on purpose, but that's why that one bounced. I shot him on the side of a very steeply angled side. And so now we are just using our high rate of fire here to get some additional shots in. We've got the KV2 around the corner there. And again, still playing cautious. It's 3-on-3. We've got one cap, so we're way ahead of them. So see the Predator doing a really nice job there of angling up. KV takes a shot, so I'm able to pull forward and get another one in. But he's gone around the side of the building, so no point pulling forward. And this is when I see low health Cromwell over there. There's that shot through the building that doesn't penetrate. He gets a shot in on me, and that's the first one I've taken this game. So we can go ahead and not worry about too much about pulling out in front of this SU-100, but he does a great job here of penning me up against the building and keeping me from being able to get around him, and he finishes me off. But I left him as a one-shot for that Bulldog, so we end up winning this game. Map awareness and conserving hit points. Name of the game in this tank. So we get 10 shots in there. We do 1601 in damage. Alright, so moving on to Copperfield, top tier. And I think this game here exemplifies why this is one of my favorite tanks. We're going to power up the heavy alley here and just see if we can get some spots. So far the Leo's up here, but I'm waiting to see if there's any slower heavies coming. And I'm also waiting for the couple heavies that are behind me to come across. So in the meantime, we can take some shots across the map here. You can see the lovely accuracy of this British gun. Now I've got three heavies, well, 3 tanks in front of me, I should say. And like I said in the last game, it's all about map awareness, conserving hit points to the end. So we are down a tank. We've got the Churchill and the PZ-4 over here. Now we're down 2 tanks. But go ahead and just pull forward just enough. Get a bounce from the lower tier tank there. Now it's the Churchill. He's turning towards us, but one of the things that I hate about the Churchill is that turret and the lack of armor on it. So we're just going to aim for it. And unless he shows us his side, which obviously was a bigger target for us, so he gets finished off. And now I'm figuring they're flanking around, so let's go check here when PZ-34 spots up on that side. Get the first shot to go in. You notice I'm taking my shot and I'm pulling into cover. Unfortunately, that one missed. Knowing that we are down a tank at this point, I'm trying to keep our tanks in the game as much as possible. And so I'm going to go ahead and just go bully this AMX. I've used my I've saved my hit points, so I'm able to do that nice little ammo rack there. And there's 2. If I could have stopped in time, I would have got that Leo out. But now we're up a tank, and now it's just a 3485 left. So he drops adrenaline, so no point going up against him at this point in time. We'll just make him wait it out a little bit. Obviously he's loaded. And we can just snapshot one in there, and I'm not giving him much of a target at all to aim for. Hoping that he'll come around the building and one of my other 2 guys will do exactly that and put a shot into him. We have the hit point advantage at this point, so we can just go ahead and move in. We'll take a shot here. And all I'm trying to do is just use my speed to work it so that I am either behind or perpendicular to him, which we do there for kill number 4. And although it didn't seem like it, we ended up with 3,130 damage. Obviously good enough for a mastery badge there. We landed 18 shots and in a very short amount of time, which is why this tank is so fun to play. Alright, so here we are, top tier on mines. Obviously, pretty much the only strategy on this is to defend the hill in the middle. So I'm going to work my way up the left side of the hill, which I've really started enjoying playing this style here, as it offers protection. I'm not sure why that didn't get any damage points in there, but it does give us the kill. And almost had kill number 2 there. But these guys have all rushed up too fast, which is why I like this left side. Especially in an American tank with good gun depression, or even this tank. You are protected from the sniping area being over here for the most part. And you can use your gun depression to shoot over the hill down to the right if there's tanks down there. And obviously you can get shots on guys going up the hill. So as you can see, we're just taking our shots, rolling back behind the rock, and figure now at this point we can just go ahead and move in. And notice how long it takes to finish off this M4 with full health. There's 2 shots, 3 shots, 4 shots, 5. Not getting much help. 6. 7 shots to finish him off. It felt like an eternity, but he only got 1 in on me, so that was okay. And obviously this was one of those lopsided games that often happens. But with such a fast reload, 23-16 on damage, 2 kills, 15 shots landed in such a short game. Again, goes to show you why this is a fun tank. Alright, so last game I'm going to show is on Castilla top tier. And from the north side of the map, I love this sniping spot. So we're going to do a little mountain climbing here. And we're going to mosey on up to the rock. And it really is a great sniping spot. It gives you lots of cover to the right. And then obviously shots down there onto that SU. And at over 260 meters, you are not going to get spotted. With this gun depression here, I don't even have to pull forward. And we finish off the M4. SU's still up there somewhere, waiting for everyone else to spot up. There's the SU. He has dropped down, and we finish him off for kill number 2. And now we're going to have to move up a little bit more to get these shots in on that VK down there. And so they've pushed behind the rock. Now there's 2 behind me here. So we're going to stay here until we get spotted. Unfortunately, that just tracked him. That one goes in and sets him on fire. Unable to reload before he shoots again. Now, this M4 here, he's going to spot me, so we'll jump down off of the hill there. Lucky not to get caught up on that rock. The Excelsior is over here, so I'm going to push in on him. Hoping that my team can hold their own down there, and they're starting to drop like flies. And shot into the M4 there. Excelsior's turning. We don't quite get that shot to go in. And so this right here is one of the reasons I do like the Cromwell. You can use its speed here to outmaneuver these heavy, slower tanks. You can see here, we'll get a shot into the side, and as he's turning that turret around, we'll get a shot in. And just going to drop down here. 2 on 3 at this point in time. That guy, T-150, is in trouble, and they're all 3 of them are down there. And this might be where I make a tactical miscalculation, so to speak. I'm able to finish off the VK to get it to 2 on 1. But I am spotted at this point in time, so I'm going to speed it up here, and I decide to run left and go back. And I'm thinking 2 guys, they're going to go to cap, and they're going to force me out. 2 guns on 1, they should be able to finish me off. And so my whole thinking here is get this high ground. Maybe I can get a shot or 2 in as they're getting the cap, and make it a little bit more of a fair fight. So a little bit of time goes by here, and nobody comes to the cap circle, so I'm gonna go check on the other side, and still nothing. Thinking, well, maybe they're coming around. They were chasing me. Really not sure what to do at this point in time. So we're going to head back the direction that we were. And that's when the M4 pops up. He's going to be behind us here. First shot misses. But we're going to close in on him. There's only a minute left in this game, and there's 2 tanks, and I don't know where that other tank is. But at this point in time, I just want to get this guy out as fast as possible. I'm thinking, who's not going to be able to penetrate an M4? And look at that, 2 shots in a row bounce. Not very good aiming, but anyway, we do manage to finish him off for our 5th kill. And now there's 1 more out there. Going to speed it up again. And you know, I just made a guess that he would be over here at spawn area, and sure enough, turns out he was AFK the whole time. So had I circled the map quickly, I probably would have got him, but time runs out, and do 2561 in damage, 5 kills, and only get a draw out of it. But anyway, that's the type of game I love about this tank, and just how fast it is to get around the map. You saw not too much problems with penetration outside of some bad aiming there at the end, and you know, just an overall fun tank in my opinion. So Just remember, though, you've got to be map aware. You've got to aim at low hit point targets and take guns out of the game as much as possible. And use your speed to relocate, single out guys that are out of position that you can finish off quickly. And this tank becomes really fun to play when you do that. So, as always, guys, stay safe out there. Have fun. Get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.